Does it really matter how we hold our pencils? Does it impact on our schooling later on? I'm Tanya, I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm going to be talking about pencil grip and fine motor skills. Learning to control a pencil with the hands and fingers is dependent on how strong and stable your upper limb is, your shoulders and your arms. A child will need to start developing the larger gross muscles first before developing the smaller fine muscles. So a child who's typically developing will climb jungle gyms, swing on monkey bars, pushing, pulling exercises. Those will help develop the gross motor muscles first, which will help develop postural control, shoulder stability, elbow stability, and then eventually will support pencil grip development. So motor milestones, for example, sitting, crawling, and walking follow a specific developmental sequence. You wouldn't want to teach your child how to run before they can walk. So in the same way, pencil grip development follows a specific sequence. You're not going to expect, you don't want a 3-year-old child to hold a pencil like a 6-year-old child's holding the pencil unless they've transitioned through the correct developmental stages that came previously. So each developmental stage is crucial to develop the foundational muscles and the movement patterns that are needed for the next stage. The first pencil grip that we see is the palmar grasp. The child holds the pencil in a fist. This emerges at about the age of 1 to 2, and the movement is initiated at the shoulder. The movements are gross, they're uncoordinated and they're messy, but they're age appropriate. The next grasp that we see is the digital pronate grasp, and here the movement is coming from the elbow. They've got a little bit more control over the pencil, and this grasp emerges when the child is about 2 to 3 years old. The next grasp is a static grasp. Here they either hold the pencil right at the top, they either hold right at the top of the shaft of the pencil, or they can hold lower down, but their fingers are extended, they're not yet flexed, and the movement's coming from the wrist. This grasp develops usually around the age of 3 to 4 years old. And then the next grasp that we see emerging is the ideal, it's called a dynamic tripod pencil grip. The reason why it's dynamic is because the fingers are bent and the movement is initiated from all the fingers. The wrist is stable, there's no longer any wrist movement involvement, and we have a nice open web space created by the index finger and the thumb. You can see the index finger and the thumb are nice and bent, so they can move that finger nicely, the pencil nicely. The middle finger is under the shaft of the pencil, and the other 2 fingers are tucked away or just gently under those fingers, under the middle finger. Some children wrap their thumb over the index finger, which is an inefficient grasp, or they wrap their finger under the index finger, again an inefficient grasp, or they sometimes hold with 4 fingers. That's efficient as long as we've got a nice open web space. I've also seen some interesting pencil grasps. That's obviously not an adequate pencil grip because they're going to be using movement from the wrist, not from the fingers, and the same here, movements coming from the wrist, not from the fingers. So the way that I teach the children to hold the pencil correctly is I often put a dot on the index finger and a dot on the thumb, and I call it froggy. I say, those are the froggy eyes. Remember that the froggy eyes must face each other. You can't have froggy eyes like this, you can't see where he's going. So the froggy eyes must face each other. This is the bridge, and under the bridge is a little fish. And the fish must stay under the bridge, otherwise the frog can eat the fish. Then we also have the bridge resting on the riverbank. It can't be upright like that. It must rest on the riverbank, and the froggy legs are bent so that he can jump. Another way of teaching pencil grip is I tell the child that the mother and the father are driving in the front seat of the car and the child's at the back seat of the car, and everyone must sit in their own seats. No one must jump into other people's seats. So now we'll move on to a wide array of activities that will help support fine motor development. I'll be showing you the underlying skills that can develop the grip strength as well as isolation of individual finger movements. So we will start with an activity that I want to show you is I've used some stickers to fill a section of the page. I've used a tweezer to pick up some seeds and to place them on glue on my picture. I've torn and rolled up some tissue paper and put it on some glue over here to fill a picture, or I can even tear some pieces of paper and fill in a piece of paper, fill in a section of the colouring in. We can use lids to screw on, unscrew and screw back on, different sized lids. I love using wood glue because you get nice finger strengthening. We can outline the entire picture, or we can just fill in a section and we can put glitter on top, or we can put sand on top, or even glitter glue can be used. But I love the finger strengthening that wood glue stimulates. Then some other activities are we can cut some straws like that, and you can thread them onto a string for nice manipulation and dexterity. We can use pegs. So I like these pegs. I don't know if you've seen them for the younger kids, this kind of 3 to 4 kids. They must try and use 3 fingers to open the peg, and once they've got it nice and open, they can start picking up maybe cotton wool balls. But the older kids, I love these pegs because they're so resistant. They've got like a little flower on them. They're called pastel pegs, and they're much more resistant to open. And once they can open them for about 10 seconds, then they can start picking marbles up and dropping the marbles in a jar. That's much more challenging and really demands a lot of finger strength. Another activity we can use is paper folding, folding paper 4 times and really pushing the edges. Bubble wrap, popping bubble wrap, that uses nice web space and grip strength. We can use, what are these called? Punches, paper punches to make holes. This is also very resisted activity. You really need to have strength in your grip to punch the holes. Another nice activity is taking 2 pieces of cardboard, punching holes all the way around with a punch, and then threading. Again, we've got some dexterity, we've got nice manipulation of the 3 fingers to make a little purse, you see. Other nice activities are using salad tongs to pick up resisted objects. The more heavy the object it is, the more resistance it will be. Threading beads onto pipe cleaners. What else have I left out? You can even crumple up a piece of paper and flick it, or flicking marbles is really nice for that finger isolation. Also, another nice activity would be colouring on top of a texture. So you can see I've used a different texture for the top of this pineapple. I used this texture at the top and I used another texture for the bottom. So colouring over a different texture can really increase the resistance of the muscles. And popping beads, oh, this is quite hard. Popping beads open, pushing them closed, it's quite resisted. Another nice activity is using Play-Doh. You can roll the Play-Doh, squeeze the pieces of plasticine or Play-Doh up, or otherwise even fill a picture by spreading the plasticine in the picture. Cutting Play-Doh is amazingly nice resisted activity, and even using an enema bulb to blow runny paint, or to blow the enema bulb onto a cotton wool to blow the cotton wool away. Construction kits with nuts and bolts, squirt guns. Here's a nice spray bottle. This is so nice and resisted for that finger, either the thumb or the index finger, to work on the finger strength. Another nice activity is using stickies. You can put them around the rim of the bath and try and get the sticky to race across to the other side of the bath. Then I just want to show you how effective it is to colour on the vertical surface. So I'm going to go to my water here. You can stick your paper on a mirror, a cupboard, an easel, a whiteboard, and try and stick it at the bottom of the page must be at shoulder length with a child. And then what they're going to do is they're going to try and stick the baby finger side of their hand down while colouring in. This really strengthens the upper limb as well as stimulates individual finger movements. So for example, if they're colouring in over here, a lot of kids will hold their hand up and colour like this. What you're going to say to them is they've got to stick the gate down. So you can have a picture of Tom on the side and Jerry on the side and say, don't let Tom the cat get Jerry the mouse. You've got to stick your gate down. And then once you've stuck your gate down, you see how it stimulates individual finger movements. So that's a lovely way to improve individual finger movements, and you want that gate down. Then another way is to use a polystyrene board and to use a drawing pin, and you're going to prick holes in a pricky picture, and eventually it can make a full picture where the sun can shine through. You can stick it up on the window and the sun can shine through, and you can even do this on the vertical surface so that you're getting more resistance, more finger strengthening, more shoulder strengthening as well. Some other ideas would be finger manipulation. Let me just show you. So once you've got good strength and you want to improve dexterity, a lovely way to improve dexterity is to draw a circle, for example, flip the pencil, walk your fingers up, and use a rubber to rub out. So that flipping and that walking is wonderful in hand manipulation. Some other things you can use are to isolate the individual finger movements is you can put your hands together, get the child to lift their index fingers, middle fingers, or you can even do it on the table, lift each finger as they're going along. And then closing Ziploc bags, also very nice development of the web space. So as you can see, it's preferable to support the development of their pencil grips by developing the underlying skills that are required for manipulating a pencil properly, like grip strength, finger isolation, shoulder strength development, postural security. If we can improve all those, we will be able to support their pencil grips, and it's much easier to introduce and to reinforce the proper way to use a pencil, the proper way to hold a pencil, instead of later on trying to change their pencil grip. So is a pencil grip important? Definitely it is. We need to help our children achieve a functional and efficient pencil grip so that they can help them with their speed and their neatness of their handwriting, so they don't have to concentrate on how they're writing, but rather what they're writing. So you're welcome to contact me with any questions.